Welcome in, ladies and gents, folks all around the world, to the Late Night Baseball Show. It is deep into the evening of November 21st, 2024, and we are here talking baseball late into the night. We don't take ourselves too seriously here on this show. We are not baseball experts. We've never worked in a front office. We've never played Major League Baseball. But you know what? We're two guys who like to talk about the sport, and there's no better time to talk about the sport late at night when you have your most incoherent thoughts. Am I right, Parker?
Yeah, dude, if it says anything about the show, I've got 3 fingers of Buffalo Trace whiskey sitting on the table next to me, so let's do it.
Well, that's quite an interesting drink choice. Folks, I do not drink. Fun fact, I do not drink adult beverages. I just never have. So instead, I have the nectar of the gods, a premium Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Dude, are you going to be able to sleep after that? That would keep me up all night.
Okay, fun fact, I just don't get jazzed for, like, sugar does not react that way to my body. I could fall asleep after drinking 5 Baja Blasts like a baby.
I've tried, so pretty into fitness, and I've cut out a lot of my carbs and especially sugar over the last couple months because I'm cutting down. I got to like a little over 200 pounds, and now I'm trying to cut down and see how like defined I can get. And so I haven't had a ton of sugar lately, and I had a regular Coca-Cola the other day. We ordered McDonald's because we were out. Oh my God, I was wired. Holy crap. Because it was like a large Coke, so it's like 60 grams of sugar.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, we are hopped up on alcoholic beverages and highly sugary beverages. So we're here to talk baseball, of course, now that we're prepped and ready to go. And before we get into anything, Parker, let's go ahead and do some instant replays and react to some of the stories in the sport over the last week. Parker, what do you got?
Well, so I want to start slow with something that's actually a little older, but that I didn't realize had happened somehow. And I didn't know that the dynamic duo from Vanderbilt a couple years ago, Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter, both ended up on the same 40-man roster, which to me is super cool because Kumar Rocker went through a whole bunch of stuff. He had some injury concerns. He ended up playing a year of like independent ball, ended up in the Mets system, I believe, and then made his way over to the Rangers system. And it's so cool that Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker, who basically single-handedly won the College World Series for Vanderbilt a couple of years back, they're on the same 40-man roster, and we're probably going to see them pitch in the same rotation within the next year or two.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. It makes me feel even better that they're where they're at now, both in their Texas Rangers story, because, obviously Kumar was drafted by the Mets. There was issues signing him because of that injury, and Jack Leiter also has not been super impressive in the minors.
Yeah, he made his debut in
Rangers.
He made his debut. And it was super, like, you could miss it. It's fine. Like, no big deal. You didn't see it. No big deal. But I still have faith that both of those guys will at minimum be a number 4 starter in a big league rotation. And it'll be fun to see them figure that out together, grow together. And who knows? Maybe they both fully pan out and the Rangers just have a filthy 1-2 punch for the next, however many arbitration years.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, they both are definitely hard throwers. And, I mean, even if you look at Jack Leiter's 2024, I mean, the guy's still fastball velo. He's like 86th percentile on fastball velo. His extension is in the 84th percentile. So it's essentially, to break it down layman's terms, is his extension is so long off the mound that really, if it's a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, it really looks like 98 or 99. So, yeah. I mean, the tools are there, and they've always kind of been there for these two guys. And if the Rangers, in a rotation that is going to have some fall-offs here, certainly this offseason, next offseason, and DeGrom's always a fucking wild card. So
God knows.
If they can
God only knows.
Right, and if they can add these two in the rotation and get them going and get them revved up, I mean, man, that would be awesome to watch.
Especially on a team that has no problems producing offensively. It's only really that it's the not really the bullpen so much, but it's that starting rotation. The starting rotation is going to be tough for them. And like you said, over the next few years, we're going to see the eventual decline of Max Scherzer, Nathan Eovaldi, and Jacob deGrom. And if we can get a couple years of development for Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter moving forward, it's going to be a really good thing to see for that Rangers fan base, especially because they're going to be cheap, which means you can build around them.
Yeah, absolutely. Parker, I gotta take a trip to back to Tampa Bay for a second here, because we're learning
We need a Tampa
with
Bay counter on this show.
we do. I mean, we probably talked about Tampa Bay more than anything. I don't understand, but that's what Hurricane Milton does, because Hurricane Milton ripped the roof off Tropicana Field down there for Tampa Bay Rays, and now it's looking like, because the repair is so expensive and all the money that the county and the teams had to put into it, that the Rays Stadium is actually in jeopardy, and then the owner is putting relocation back on the table if they're not going to pay to repair this ballpark, which in turn, if they don't, let me back up. The repair is so expensive that they don't want to approve the bonds. The county doesn't want to approve the bonds to build a new ballpark by 2028 or 2029. So
Yeah.
the owner is saying, oh, okay, great. Well, if you're going to delay that because time's ticking, it's 2024. It takes about 3 years to build a ballpark, in case anyone has done that recently. Um, I, I mean, could they relocate? I mean, where the hell are we going to see these guys play by 2028? It's just a fascinating story to track.
I think everybody wants and they kind of need to stay in the AL East, right? So I don't know what that means for relocation outside of like, who knows? Maybe we see an MLB team in Charlotte. They don't like putting MLB teams in cities that already have AAA teams because they kind of cannibalize each other, especially because they're going to be different fan bases and stuff like that. But we have a team. Charlotte would be a great place because it's just one of the more emerging cities on the Eastern Seaboard. But really the place that I think I would want them to go, and a place that's already rumored to maybe be getting an expansion franchise once the whole Rays and A's sagas have played out, is Nashville. I would love to see an MLB team in Nashville. We already know they can support incredible sports. They have incredible sports fans, and they can support incredible sports teams. So I hopefully we see the Nashville Rays. I think a name change would come if they move to Nashville. But if they're
the
going
aquatic
to move,
thing doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know if the aquatic thing. Well, okay. So I'm admitting something here live on the podcast that I don't know if I've ever told anybody. It took me far too long to realize that when the Rays changed their logo, they were changing their name to reference sun rays.
Yes.
Rather than the devil rays like they used to be. Yeah. I didn't know what that star light icon,
like the yellow thing. Yeah, the ray of light that's beaming off the dome. Yeah.
I had no idea. And the other, it hit me one day. I was watching Quick Pitch, and they had BP unis on or something like alternate unis, and the ray was on the hat, and I was like, I don't understand what that. And it boom, hit me. I was like, oh my God, they're the Rays.
Holy shit, that's not an animal on their hat.
No.
It's a fucking ray of light.
It's a ray of light. So maybe you keep the Rays name and you just completely buy into the light side of it. But
that's funny. That's really funny. But one last thought on this. Next year, 2 Major League Baseball teams would be playing in minor league ballparks. That is just nuts.
Yeah, I can't. We talked about it on last pod. I still think that nobody's... this was the end of the world when we were playing during the COVID season and the Blue Jays had to play in Buffalo. Everyone's like, oh, this is disgraceful. How could MLB let this happen? Blah, 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 blah. We have 2 teams playing in minor league ballparks this year. We have 2 of them. And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to hold to my point I made on the last pod that I think this is going to play in they're going to pack the house and it's going to be electric atmosphere. I've been in packed AAA stadiums. They are just as loud, or it feels just as loud to the fans as a packed big league play. Well, playoff big league stadiums are.
It makes for
else,
the point. The point is a good one. It just makes for a good product. Makes for a good experience.
100%. And that's all you're trying to do. That's all you're trying to do.
All right, tell us a little more about what you got.
All right, so the next thing I've got, and this is really close to my heart because this is a guy that played several years for the Red Sox, and there's a lot of Red Sox fans that I'm talking about Chris Sale. There's a lot of Red Sox fans that will say that the Red Sox shouldn't have moved away from him. It was a complete miss to trade him away. I'm not one of those people. I personally think that absolutely move away from Chris Sale after the last few years of injury. But that's the point that I want to bring up now, is the fact that he was a guy that in 5 of 6 years, from 2012 to 2017, pitched over 192 innings, and in 4 of those years, he cracked the 200-inning mark. This was a guy who posted and hit the best season of his career was in 2017, where he led MLB with 214 in the third innings pitched. Then in 2018, he missed some time in the last half of the season, 158 innings pitched. Nobody remembers that because he closed out the World Series. Also missed some time the next season, 2019, with 147 innings pitched, and then just fell off a cliff. Didn't play at all in 2020. He opted out of the COVID season with injury, and then immediately makes his comeback in 2021. We have the bicycle incident where he hurt himself on his bike. Then he pitched like 2 starts in 2022 before he got hit by a comebacker, broke his finger. It's just been an absolute mess for Chris Sale's career in Boston after the 2018 World Series concluded. So for him to go to a new team and a new location for the Atlanta Braves, for a team that really needed a front-of-the-line guy once Spencer Strider went down, and to lead the league in ERA, to lead all of MLB with a 2.38 ERA, is so cool. 18 wins. You don't see 18-win seasons anymore, man. Nobody pitches that many decisions. And the guy had a 174 OPS plus, 209 fielding independent pitching, gets himself the Cy Young Award, gets himself on the All-Star game, and icing on the cake, won a Gold Glove.
Well, and the awards prove your point. I mean, first off, to win AL Cy Young or NL Cy Young and the NL Comeback Player of the Year this year, like, come on, like, that's the story. Like, and I agree with you. If going back a couple years ago, being in the Red Sox position, knowing what they knew, obvious choice was to not bring him back. But it speaks to the sheer talent of Chris Sale being one of the greatest pitchers we've seen, the greatest left-handed pitchers we've seen in a long time, with that delivery that just, you wonder why the guy got hurt. I mean, Jesus, that arm action, the fact that he lasted all season is a friggin' miracle. But, God, he's just so electric. When he's on, he's one of the best pitchers in the game, period.
This might be the most pro Chris Sale pod on the internet, considering the fan bases that you and I belong to. Like,
correct.
Chris Sale he's awesome. He's the ultimate competitor, man. And also, I don't know he's ever got a bad review from his teammates in the clubhouse. He's always been that clubhouse leader. He's always been a guy who's mentoring young guys. And to see him actually come out and play his own game and not just sit in a dugout and yell at people when they mess up, like, it's so cool to see him come out. Now, I watched not all his starts, but I tuned in and watched at least the highlights of most of his starts. Like, he's just can't miss baseball. It's so fun to watch him. He makes an absolute fool out of left-handed hitters. It's so fun.
I love it. I want to talk about another pitcher because I'll tell you what, Parker, MLB has the need for Skenes. Okay, yep. This guy just won the NL Rookie of the Year, and this guy, you know what? It was weird because he came into the league this year. We knew this guy was going to be absolute just nails when he came to Major League Baseball, but if you look at what he did this year under a microscope for a second, okay, he started 23 games, went 11-3. More importantly, he had a sub-2 ERA, 196 ERA, 170 strikeouts, and 133 innings. Like, less than a 1 whip. Like, that is like, if he was up for the whole season, sorry, Chris Sale, he's probably winning the Cy Young. Like,
yeah, I was going to say, he's probably, I don't know who came in second because I didn't see the voting, but I think it was Paul Skenes that came in second. Either way, he was one of the people at some point in the season. I was like, man, Skenes could do this. He could win the Rookie of the Year and win the Cy Young in the same year, which I don't remember who was the last person to do that, if it's ever happened before. But for somebody to come out and in a 16-month period win the College World Series, become the first overall draft pick, absolutely dominate his way through the minors, would have gotten through the minors faster if the Pirates smartly had not kept him on such a very, very strict pitch limit. But it's almost like they knew, because the second the man was called up, he became a guy. He took a no-hitter into the 7th inning plus twice in his first 5 or 6 starts. He's absolutely electric. I think it's really good for the game of baseball. I think that to have a guy like this who's so competitively driven, so good at the game of baseball, this young, and also can throw 102 miles an hour but doesn't do it every time he throws a fastball, has a certain maturity about his approach that is just
100%.
It's so good for the game.
I always talk about this a lot. And, there's a difference when you are a starting pitcher or a relief pitcher there's throwers and there's pitchers. There's throwers that throw heat, 95 and above, and they're just trying to nail you in the zone. But he is a little bit of both. He's got the heat, he's a thrower, but that maturity makes him an actual pitcher at this young and this early in his career is just so fun to watch. I can't think of the last person that just put on a show like he has. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, no. It's to put it in perspective. I read articles about Roki Sasaki basically 3 times a day because that's what's going on in baseball right now. But I saw a comparison on Roki Sasaki. I want to say it was in The Athletic, but I can't be 100% sure. But the comparison was he has a splitter like I think they compared him to Kevin Gausman, but the other comparison they made was a fastball like Paul Skenes. And if this is the guy that everybody's trying to go out and sign, and the benchmark that they're giving is Paul Skenes, and the fact that that even carries any weight, 17 months after the guy was drafted, that's pretty impressive. The air that Paul Skenes is in right now is very rare. It is very rare to see a person like this come up and be so effective so immediately. Got to go back to somebody like Fernando Valenzuela or something like that because it is so incredibly crazy to see a rookie be this dominant against big league hitters who can typically figure you out in a few starts.
And seeing Livy Dunn more is definitely a plus.
It's good. It's good for baseball. Livy Dunn's good for baseball. Livy Dunn might be better for baseball than Paul Skenes.
No doubter there.
I don't know if you saw the Paul Skenes, the announcement when he saw the announcement that he got awarded the Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
But he was stone-faced. But then I
saw
many
a
meme. I saw the meme, and I think I sent it to you where it was Paul Skenes when he wins Rookie of the Year, and he's just complete straight face, and Paul Skenes when he's riding in a fire truck, and he's like, oh my God, this is so cool. He's like a kid, man. It's awesome. It's so cool.
So I have to pull it up because we're talking about Paul Skenes. So I'm sure you saw this, that the Pirates are looking for his rookie card and would trade someone for the rookie card. So if anyone has not heard about this, so this is actually what the Pirates are doing. They made a social media post and basically said, hey, if you guys find the rookie debut patch that's signed by Paul Skenes card, if you give it to the Pirates, they'll go ahead and give you a whole list of shit. And I of course cannot even find it now, but it was 30 years of season tickets for 2 tickets. It was behind home plate.
Yeah.
It was a lot of good stuff. So I thought that was awesome. That was so cool. Good play on their part.
Yeah, especially in this era where for some reason the getting back of memorabilia is more publicized than it's ever been. It's definitely because of social media. I don't know why I said for some reason, but it's cool to see a team like the Pirates who no offense to the Pirates fans, have not had a ton to cheer about in the last few years. I think the most exciting thing that's happened recently is Andrew McCutcheon hitting a home run after being gone for a while. But Paul Skenes is exciting, and Paul Skenes is incredible, and Paul Skenes is bringing life to baseball in Pittsburgh, unlike we've seen in a very long time. So. Good for them. I'm really glad that they were riding for their guy.
Totally. He's going to be facing that franchise hopefully for many years to come. All right, that's Instant Replay. We do that every week, folks. If you're new here, we just like to open the show talking about a bunch of random baseball shit that we wanted to react to over the last week. Again, there's really no rhyme or reason here. We're just here talking baseball, and anything's on the table. But what's also on the table, at least next week, is going to be a hell of a lot of food because we're coming up on Thanksgiving. That was awesome transition.
I was going to say, that was good. That was a solid 8.5.
Really solid. Let's ruin it by talking about it more. Anyway, but we wanted to use the time today because, it just seems fitting to talk about just some of the things in a very corny way that we were thankful for this year in baseball. There are a lot that went on in 2024. We can go back and talk about all of it. There's a lot of shit that went down, but let's just use now as an opportunity to talk about things that we are thankful for in baseball here in the year 2024. And I'm going to start with this, Parker, because this is brand spanking new, hot news item. Ichiro is eligible for the first time to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. And I'm just thankful we got to see Ichiro's career. You and I grew up watching Ichiro's career, and I had to ask, we're grateful for it, we're thankful for it, but he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Can we all agree on that?
I actually think that Ichiro Suzuki may have a chance at being the second unanimous selection to the Hall of Fame.
So him and Mariano Rivera.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so,
Wow.
man. Like, I think
Wow.
I don't know okay. If you vote no or don't vote for Ichiro Suzuki on this particular ballot to be a Hall of Famer,
Yeah. Yeah.
you should lose your Hall of Fame vote. Like, that is,
Agree.
there will 100% be some fucking BBWAA member
You know.
that just sends in a blank ballot, and that sucks because it's probably going to mean that he's not going to be the second unanimous player. Remember, we have a unanimous player in Mariano Rivera. We have a person who missed by one vote, or missed unanimous by one vote, and that's Derek Jeter. And then hopefully we will have Ichiro Suzuki. Personally, I hope that happens. I don't think that there's a world in which you don't put him in the Hall of Fame in the first ballot. I mean, when you look at the stats that the guy accumulated just in his time in the major leagues, he had over 3,000 hits in his big league career. And over 162 game average during that time. He was averaging 189 hits. When he broke into the league, he hit over 200 hits in every single season. Oh, I just sorted by hits. That's not good. That's why it looked like every single. He hit over 200 hits from 2001 to 2010. Every single one of those seasons, he cleared the 200 hit mark. After that, the fall off was pretty substantial because he hit 184, 178, and then 136, 102, and then didn't break the 100 mark. But still, the fact that this guy, first of all, spent most of his career in Seattle, went through some really good years with Seattle, led Major League Baseball in hits in 7 different years. The highest hit total he put up in a season was 262. He's incredible. He's one of, if not the best, pure raw contact hitters of all time. Nobody plays the game like he did. He had an absolute hose in right field. 1 Gold Gloves in his first 7 or 8 seasons in the big leagues. Oh, no, literally won a Gold Glove every single year from 2001 and 2010. So 2001 to 2010, Ichiro definitely is the first ballot Hall of Famer. And he played like 9 more years after that. So I think we put this guy in the Hall of Fame this year.
100%. I don't think people realize, and I know I didn't realize it when I was younger watching baseball, but this guy, a member of the 3,000 Hit Club, is a member of the 3,000 Hit Club, having started his career in the States at age 27, okay? I mean, for reference, the previously held record for starting in the league at the youngest age, or the oldest age, having hit 3,000 hits was Wade Boggs when he started in the league at 24. Like, come on. Like, that is insane. I mean, he's a guy that won, and I actually did not even realize this. I reminded myself of this today. He won the AL MVP. He won the hold on, I'm even lost it right now. Where the hell am I? Who the hell? I can't read. I can't write. Everything's a blur. It's the Baja Blast. He won American League MVP. He won a Gold Glove, and he won Rookie of the Year, all in his first year. No player has ever done that. 0. Goose egg. Whew.
He got MVP votes in 2001, 2002, 2003, and 2004. Skipped 2005, even though he's an All-Star and Gold Glover, and then got MVP votes in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2010. Oh, and he won the Gold Glove every single year.
Oh, I'll take that back. What I said, actually, it wasn't Gold Glove. He won.
I'm putting him in the Hall, man. I'm putting him in the Hall of Fame.
Batting. 100%. 100%. I'll edit what I said earlier because it's incorrect. He won the American League batting title, Rookie of the Year, and the MVP award in his first year in 2001. But enough Gold Gloves to go around, clearly.
100%.
Wow.
I just don't think there's a world in which he's not in the Hall of Fame in year 1.
No, I sure as hell hope not. And like you said, I hope it's unanimous, without a doubt. What are you thankful for, Parker?
Okay, so this is going to be a controversial take. Maybe among baseball purists, this isn't the favorite thing in the world. But I think you agree with me when I say that the pitch clock has been one of the better additions in baseball over the last life of the game. Genuinely think that the state that baseball was in were Red Sox-Yankees games, which I had to watch 15 of those fucking things every single year. 18 of those things for a long time, or 19 of those things for a very long time. They were averaging over 4 hours. And now the Major League Baseball time, average game time, I want to say, and I don't have it exactly right in front of me, but it's under 3 hours, and I think it's right at the 2.5 hour mark, which, like, as an adult with kids, is the best thing ever, man. It's amazing. This game
Yes.
was not consumable by the casual fan for decades and has
Right.
become so in the last 2 years with the pitch clock change.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are in the same boat. If we were at the ballpark, we could sit there for 4 hours because we love the sport, no problem. But there is also the issue, kind of you're alluding to, of spreading the game, consumability, all of that. And I have sat through 15, 20 games this year, and it didn't bother me that I was out into 2 hours, 45 minutes, 3 hours. And especially if you have the kiddos, you sit there every other inning. It's, can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have a hot dog? Can I have Dippin' Dots? Can I have, okay, calm down, kid. And when I say, and this is such a parent thing, parents understand this. If you are at a game with your child and they are asking for something, and you say, oh, okay, well, wait until the fifth inning, that comes a lot faster, which is great.
Dude, 100%, man. So the thing with, I brought my son to his first Red Sox game a couple years back. It was 2 years ago because it was the first year Trevor Story was on the team, because I remember wearing my new Trevor Story jersey. I spent more than 50% of that game waiting in lines. Because it was like, I remember being like, I'm the dad now. Like, I have to bring my son to his first game, get him popcorn, get him Dippin' Dots. I'm going to have a beer. I'm going to get hot dogs. We're going to do it up. And I spent the entire game standing in line, which was good because the Red Sox got blown out like 16-4 by the Orioles. So it was like, okay, cool. I didn't miss much. But, 100%. I think that the ballpark experience of baseball and the consumability and my ability to present the game to my children as something that I love and hold very dear to myself, it becomes so much more consumable when the pitch clock has been involved for the last couple of years. Not to mention, the pace of the game as a whole has gone up because we're not seeing a million pickoffs. We're seeing a bunch more stolen bases. It's a better product. And I think after a couple of years, even baseball purists are starting to come around to it.
Yeah. I mean, there's something beautiful about not just seeing a pitcher walk around the mound and pick his ass before every single pitch. Like, that is, I didn't realize it in the moment, but now that we have the pitch clock, I'm like, that's maddening. Like, just pitch the damn ball,
no,
please.
100%. I mean, have you seen the clips of like entire innings being played in 2023 and the time that it took 2 pitches to be thrown in the playoffs in 2022?
Oh my God. It's incredible. And I didn't realize it in the moment, how much dead space there is. Really.
Yeah, no, it's
wow.
very stark differences, especially when we talk about guys, and I'm always going to bring up Red Sox guys because that's who I listen to. We talk about old heads like Lou Merlone and guys like that who are in broadcasting now and have been around the game and watched basically every single game that has been played over the last 20-some years. These guys are on board. It's time to come to the dark side, the light side, however you see it. The pitch clock is good for baseball.
It sure is. It sure is. Parker, I'm thankful for something that I think we've all been looking forward to. And this year, actually in the last week, we got a pretty significant update that MLB finally is planning to get broadcast rights and blackouts under control. Oh my God. This has been, I can't stand that I pay for MLB TV. Okay, well, I don't pay as a season ticket holder, but I used to pay for it every year. And I cannot just watch my hometown teams on this app, or I can't watch this game because it happens to be on ESPN one night on Sunday Night Baseball. Like, that is maddening to me. Now, it is timely. I think the environment is right with the Diamond Sports issues, and it looks like they've made some deals with a handful of teams. Looks like the MLB has actually made deals with a couple teams to host and broadcast their games. So it is a step in the right direction. And Rob Manfred made it clear the other day that there is a universe that by 2028, 2029, I can't remember which one, I think 28, that the whole point of this is for these kind of network kind of setup, these broadcast right issues to go away, for MLB to really take control of all of this, which is just chef's kiss.
It's amazing. So the comparison I always make is when I lived in Japan for 2 years from 2017 to 2019. It was cheaper for me to watch the Boston Red Sox than it was when I lived in Massachusetts.
Wow.
I had to pay for basic cable when I was in Massachusetts, but when I was in Japan, it was $12.50 a month, I think, at the time for MLB TV. And that was like mind-blowing to me. Because I basically moved to Massachusetts to be closer to the Red Sox, which highly do not recommend moving to a state just to watch your baseball team right before COVID kicks off. Probably not a great move.
Sounded like a good idea at the time.
It sounded like a great idea. I was so excited, and then COVID happened. It was terrible. But yeah, no, I mean, especially as a fan who doesn't live in the broadcast area of their team, it actually isn't terrible for me. But every single West Coast trip, because I live in Southern California, I'm using less than legal means to watch my favorite team's games because they're not on cable. And I think that when you combine the blackout issues for local networks with the death of cable and the death of basically like normal cable services that we were used to growing up, this is the natural progression of sports. When you look at I don't have exact numbers, two of the fastest growing sports in the world, they are Major League Soccer and they are Formula One. And both of them have completely exclusive streaming deals that you can pay a flat rate per month and watch every single game from number one all the way through the playoffs. Every single game / race is viewable on that streaming platform.
We're both F1 folks. We get into F1 too. And F1 2 is a weird thing to say. I don't recommend saying that, F1 2. But that F1 TV is $89 a year, and it is the best product. I mean, it's so damn good. And I would love MLB to do that. I think they're finally understanding that, much like the pitch clock thing, the accessibility of their sport is what's going to determine their success. And I'm so glad they're finally realizing that. I'll give you an example. Here in Chicago, there's a new Chicago sports network that they've opened up here. And what's the big issue they're having now that they've launched? They launched in October. Their biggest issue was, we got to negotiate with YouTube TV, and we got to negotiate with DirecTV and Comcast and all this. And they finally decided just to launch their direct-to-consumer app. You spend $30 and you can watch all the Chicago sports teams on this app ran through this network. Like, duh. Like, yeah. Like, come on. Why are we just getting here at this point?
It's going to take a long time, and change takes a long time. But I think that in the era of basically all of us having to reassemble a cable package via 17 streaming services, it is annoying. But I do also think that the ability to pick and choose exactly what you will watch on any given night is super beneficial.
Bingo.
Personally, I'm a YouTube TV guy because I watch a lot of football, so it was a pretty easy decision to make. If I could just pay a flat rate so that I could watch all the baseball because I'm going to watch. I watch like 230 games a year, dude. It is my background noise when the season is on. If there's a game on and I'm at work and there's an afternoon game, I'm probably just throwing it on to watch it. And I know that I'm not the majority there. I know I am in the stark minority, but there are people, lots of people that would benefit from just being able to pay. I think I would certainly pay $25, $35 a month just to watch every single Red Sox game that I could.
100%. I think, and this is the world we live in now, right? If anything is even slightly hard, I'm not doing it. I'm just not.
No.
If you make anything even slightly difficult for people, they will not engage with your product. They won't.
No, that's evidenced by things like Sunday or Thursday Night Football being on Amazon Prime, and the reason I get texts from family members and friends asking me where is the game on tonight. Like,
right.
The fact that I have to go. I have the ESPN app, which I haven't brought this up on the show before. The ESPN app is the bane of my existence. I hate that app. And I'm an ESPN Plus subscriber because I have the Disney Plus bundle.
Yeah.
And I still see so many damn ads on that app. It is horrific. It's so annoying. It's terrible. It doesn't load ever, but I keep it on my phone only because they tell me exactly where every single game is being broadcasted.
Ooh, that's its only value.
That's the function I use it for. I'm like, where is this game being brought? And I click on the game. It's like, it's on ESPN Plus. All right, cool. Let me pull it up.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, the juice may not be. I guess in that case, the juice is worth the squeeze, but the squeeze was shit.
No, it's not.
It's not. I hate
Yeah,
it.
it's a
That's
horrible experience right now. Hopefully, sports
oh.
fans get a break from this in the future, and hopefully, you can just hit. Oh, how nice would it be if you're like, oh, I want to watch MLB, hit the MLB app, and boom, all the games are right there. That'd be great.
That's what I'm talking about. Just give it all to me, please. Let's do some. We have a couple coming up here that we're thankful for that involve. We're going to do a little self indulgence here and talk about our teams for a moment. Parker, what are you thankful for next?
I'm thankful for what I woke up to this morning. So over the last couple of years, it has been a roller coaster as a Red Sox fan, and I realized that coming from somebody who the team finished 81 and 81, it wasn't the worst season in the world. There were some really good moments there. But as a Red Sox fan, there's an inherent level of buy-in that we have come to expect from ownership as far as going over the luxury tax, spending money on good players, bringing talent to the club, always being competitive for a playoff spot. And if you exclude 2021, it has been a long time since the Boston Red Sox were competitive. In fact, if Rafael Devers does not hit a home run in Washington in 2021, the Red Sox don't make the playoffs, and it's been a string of years since 2019 since the team made the playoffs. As a Red Sox fan, that is not what we're used to. I know we're spoiled, but I'm going to go ahead and be spoiled, okay? Because that's what I've become used to growing up. When I was 9 years old, the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004. They won again in 2007, then 2013, then 2018. It's been 6 years. Where's my next World Series title? Like, it's such a place of privilege that I speak from. But I'm telling you, it has been driving Boston sports fans incredibly mad over the last few years. So, what happened last season in the offseason? Well, we had Tom Warner come out and say that the team was full throttle and that we were going to be spending all this money, and then we didn't sign shit. Lucas Giolito got hurt, and they were underneath the luxury tax again. But this offseason has felt different. There have been reports of really good meetings with Juan Soto. There have been reports of a lot of different players being contacted by the Red Sox front office. And Sam Kennedy said the words. The intention is to go and stay over the luxury tax for a little bit here, to be competitive, to build around all this talent the Red Sox fans have had to watch develop through Instagram clips over the last few years. And now guys like Christian Campbell are on the brink of debuting. Guys like Roman Anthony are the number one prospect in baseball. And to see that the Red Sox front office is so all in on guys like Juan Soto that they're sending 7 people to a meeting with him, and that it was quote unquote really encouraging or really impressive or something, wherever the terminology was, it's so refreshing. I feel like we're back in the fight. I'm not 100% sold until the money's actually spent, the checks are signed, and we have actual players on this roster that cost a bunch of money. I'm not 100% sold yet, but it is super refreshing to see a world where the Red Sox are going all in for free agents, because over the last 5 years, reporters have just been stapling the Red Sox name to drive up the price of most free agents.
Yeah, I mean, as a outside observer who has a lot of respect for the franchise and loves everything about the Red Sox just as a team and an organization, I feel like they almost must have had a come to Jesus wake up call moment where the climate now is so much different, or the landscape for them now is so much different than it was 5 years ago. I mean, the Rays were always competitive but never blew you away. The Orioles were always at the bottom. The Blue Jays weren't always eh. Now you're not anytime soon going to get through that division with the Yankees, with the Orioles, with the Blue Jays. It's not happening. Like, they realized, I think, that a premier sports town like Boston and the fans, rightfully upset, rightfully pissed off over the last couple of years, if you're not going to try now, when's the next time you're going to try? This is not getting better for you anytime soon. I mean, I do think that's what it came down to, ultimately.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that this is like the power of the fan base and the power of sports media and stuff like that, because
Yeah.
nobody's been happy. Nobody's been happy in the market at all. All of the most prominent Red Sox radio shows, podcasts, fans on Twitter, things like, we're all mad. But also unanimously almost, we're all pretty excited right now because we do have a ton of talent coming up that looks like it's hopefully going to pan out. Even if the Red Sox make no moves in the offseason, the Red Sox rotation arguably gets better with Lucas Giolito. I know Nick Pivetta didn't take the qualifying offer, but like nobody ever takes the qualifying offer, so nobody was really expecting that. I think we're in a position now where we're allowed to be excited. If nothing else, if nothing major happens this offseason, it's going to be the end times. Like, this is going to be sell the team the entire year. Their ratings are going to plummet. Ticket prices are going to have to go to the floor because nobody's going to be paying an average of $144 to go watch a Red Sox game and drink a beer. So I think this better be the time, and I think it is, but it better be for the Red Sox in their front office.
The last thing I'll say is I hope for you, my friend, that they do sign Juan Soto. I don't know. I think you'll really spontaneously combust. I don't know that we can have a show because I think you'll be so out of your goddamn mind.
I mean, so if anybody listened to the Utini show last year, I was super jazzed about baseball from like middle of May until the All-Star break. And I wonder why that was. And then a couple weeks after the All-Star break, I personally felt like my podcasting fell off because it was so hard for me to watch baseball, man. They played so badly after the All-Star break that it just kills my drive for the game, which is why the offseason is one of my favorite parts of baseball because everybody has hopes. Every single fan base whose team finished above 500 last year thinks they're winning the World Series next year. That's just how baseball works, and I'm here for it, and I'm part of the problem.
So, basically, our show's going to be shit until Juan Soto signs with the Red Sox. Got it.
So, okay, Juan Soto doesn't need to sign with the Red Sox for me to be excited. I just need like a 1-year deal for like Shane Bieber, man. Like, I'm not asking for the world.
That's a low bar. Holy crap.
I'm not
that's
asking
a low
for the
bar.
world, but I want to address need, which is I feel like just hasn't been done. Since Dustin Pedroia retired, we've had a revolving door at second base. So maybe fill that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it probably looks like it's going to be like a mixture of Trevor Story and Racedon Rafaela, and we have players we can play in that spot if we don't sign a second baseman. But we haven't had a pitching rotation, and if we address the need, that's more than they've done in the last half a decade.
I know we're getting a little off to a tangent here, but this is super important because what you described is it's funny enough because we're coming off talking about the comeback and that doc, and what you're describing is teams that had the guy, right? Like Dustin was the guy. David Ortiz at DH is the guy, right? Like, you look at these teams with all these platoons and all these this older veteran platooning with this younger guy, platooning with the splits and all of that. Like, how many teams besides maybe the Dodgers and not even the Yankees a lot of the time are like, here's my 1 through 9, here are my 9 guys here all the time. Like, that's just not a thing much anymore. And the Red Sox were all about that.
Yeah, 100%. You knew who your lineup was going to be Monday through Friday and most of the time on the weekends. Like, it was... That's kind of how baseball's gotten away from it in the last few years, with this emerging reliance on flexible players who play multiple positions and the rise of platooning and base percentage being the most important stat in baseball and stuff like that. That's going to be a natural breakdown of the systems we came to be accustomed to as we were coming up through our youth. But there is something to be said to have a consistent 4 outfielders, a consistent 6 infielders, a consistent couple catchers, just people that nobody wants to watch their team play 162 games using 45 different players because they had to, mess some people up around in the 40-man roster and stuff. Nobody wants to watch that. What we want to watch is 26 to 29 guys basically playing the whole season. And that hasn't been the case for the Red Sox in recent years, and I'm really excited. Hopefully looks like that's going to be the case moving forward. Now, we just talked about the Red Sox, and we did say we were gonna do a little bit of talking about our own teams. What do you got that you're thankful for on the White Sox side of things?
Well, for all you smartasses out there going, oh, not much. Well, you're right. But I do have something I am thankful for when it comes to the White Sox, and that is that they are actually building their baseball operations team the right way, which if you know anything about the White Sox franchise, they don't build much of anything the right way. Thank you, Jerry Reinsdorf. But I do think Chris Getz in this front office is doing a really stellar job of resetting this whole organization. I mean, this is an organization when it came to analytics, when it came to development, so just ass backward, 100%. And I mean, you have these organizations like the Rays and the Dodgers that have tons of people in these research and development departments, and now they're essentially scrapping everything from baseball ops, from the foundation, and making some pretty impressive hires. Will Venable got hired. He's someone who's highly touted, always been a managerial candidate for the last couple of years, highly touted guy, and they made some recent hires I was particularly excited about. They actually hired their bench coach. They hired a bench coach away from the Brewers, Walter McKinven, who was with the Brewers for about 9 years. I mean, this is a guy that has just an awesome resume. Coaching roles, analytics roles, development roles, and more than anything, this is what I love about this guy. He worked closely with William Contreras when they acquired him from the Braves. He took Wilson Contreras from a -11 defensive runs saved at catcher to a +11 in a year.
That's great.
It's shit like that when you're hiring people that know how to communicate to the players, to know how to get the most out of their players. They hired blanking on his name right now. Ryan Fuller, who was a pitching coach with the Orioles over the last 2 years. If you know anything about the Orioles over the last 2 years, they have a lot of young guys who really came into their own and have been hitting the ball over the place. Think of guys like Adley Rutschman. Think of guys like Anthony Santander, who has definitely kind of blossomed over the last couple of years. And a lot of that is because of their hitting infrastructure. And they brought someone from the Orioles over to be the director of hitting. These are positions that this White Sox team has never had before. And I keep telling people this all the time that come to me and say, "Oh, well, the White Sox are going to be competing for 5-7 years." Poor you. This could be turned around very quickly. With any team that has always went through these struggles or that has been a perpetually bad team, there's this propensity for some teams to just say, if we just spend a shit ton in free agency and make the right trades, we'll get back on top. They are doing this the right way by building it from the bottom up. And when they do this, I do think in 3 or 4 years, we're looking at an organization that's not just a lot better on the field, but a lot better inside and behind the scenes to keep on improving and sustain something real that they've never had before. So I'm all aboard for it. I'm patient. I'll wait, and I'm super thankful for it. Finally. About damn time.
100%. I mean, I've realized that every time you say something, I say 100%. I need to work on my podcasting skills.
Me too, 100%.
Yeah. So
now I'm gonna really fuck. I'm gonna fuck with you one day, and I'm gonna say like 95%, and it's really gonna throw you off.
Yeah. It's 95%. Toss me for a loop. No, but so one thing I want to point out though is every single baseball fan right now that isn't the Dodgers wishes that their team was constructed like the Orioles, right? Every single team wishes that they could have the depth that the Orioles have in their farm system. But nobody wishes that their team had the last decade of Orioles baseball.
Bingo.
So at some point, you have to change gears. I just got done talking about how not competitive that the Red Sox have been over the last 5 to 6 years. Well, that only looks good now because of the work that they have done in the last 6 years to build up this farm system, to get the number one prospect in baseball, which I'm going to say a million more times until he graduates. Like, it is going to look good for the Orioles and hopefully the Red Sox over the next few years. But the last, half a decade plus didn't look good for either franchise. And I'm really hoping that the White Sox are able to do the same kind of transition with their current front office setup. I mean, we saw a world, not to bring up bad memories, but we saw a world where the White Sox did have a very, very good-looking young core not too far in the past. I remember picking the White Sox to win some World Series between like 2017 and 2020. Maybe multiple times, because the White Sox had guys like Eloy Jimenez coming up. The White Sox had guys like Luis Robert coming up, and some of them panned out and some of them didn't. But now you get to see a world where the White Sox get Chris Getson, and he's able to make the team in his image and likeness. He's able to create a system that works for him, put coaches around the players that he wants to put in front of them, watch Will Venable probably develop right alongside these players as a manager
Oh yeah.
over the next 3 years. And who knows, this is the type of move. These are the type of moves, I should say, that create dynasties. These are the type of moves that create the 2017 to 2023 Astros. These are the type of moves that create sustained success over many, many years. And hopefully we see the same thing in Chicago. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years, but those 2 to 3 years will be years that when you look back as a fan, you go, I was there. I watched it all happen. I called the development of that guy. I bought in on Will Venable when he was a free agent managerial candidate. And it's going to be so cool when that team is on top of the division and making deep playoff runs.
100%.
99%.
99%. The Dodgers were in the same position and worked their way to build the organizational infrastructure to be where they are now, and we'll see if the White Sox can mimic that success. Parker, why don't you bring us home? What are you thankful for?
All right, you know me, I can't take every single one of these picks seriously, and right now this is a little bit more of a meme pick, and it is in style right now when you look at guys who are coming up like Paul Skenes and the guy who just won the NL Cy Young Award and Chris Sale, but thank God for the 3/4 arm slot, man. I can't tell you anything that gives me more joy than watching a pitcher carve up a lineup while chucking the ball from the opposite batter's box. I love watching guys like Tanner Houck. I love watching guys like Chris Sale. I love watching guys like Paul Skenes. That 3/4 arm slot, dude, it's everything for me. And Corbin Burns, I don't know why, but I genuinely have a better time watching baseball when the ball is coming from 3 feet to the other side of the rubber. I just absolutely love it.
Hey, I dig it. I mean, hey, you go to all these pitching coaches in any organization, one of the things they'll all tell you is, hey, I want a bullpen that has multiple different arm slots and multiple different views for the batter. You're not crazy. There's applicability there.
100%. And when you take your starter and give him a 3/4 arm slot and then bring in anybody else from your bullpen, everything changes from the hitter's perspective. And I think that's an advantage that can't be overstated. When you look at a guy like Corbin Burns, whose dominance only started when he changed the grip on his fastball, because with his arm angle and the alternated 3/4 grip that he actually has on the seams of the fastball, that's what created the natural cutter that he throws every single time he throws that fastball. So, I don't know. Maybe it's because when I play, I also throw from a 3/4 arm slot, but I've just, I remember growing up watching guys like Randy Johnson and just trying to mimic everything that they did because it was so cool to me. It's still cool to this day. It's still clearly very effective because we see a guy like Chris Sale win the Cy Young Award and Tanner Houck have a breakout season, but I'm thankful for the 3/4 arm slot.
Heck yeah. I love that. All right, folks, couple programming notes for the next couple weeks. So next week is Thanksgiving, so we are actually going to be taking a week off. The following week, we'll be back on December 5th, and we are going to have some fun, and we are going to do an all-time baseball movie draft. So Parker and I are going to have a list of baseball movies, and we're going to be drafting our favorites, so you'll want to tune in for that. That'll be a really fun time the night of December 5th. But in the meantime, folks, make sure you're subscribing to the show, make sure you're sharing our show with a friend, and make sure you don't take yourself too seriously out there, especially when you're talking baseball. Please leave us a review, make it good, and most importantly, thank you for joining us here on the Late Night Baseball Show. See you later, 100%.